Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be using these wooden tiles to build some building. It is actually a game called Tokyo Jutaku, where you play as an architect attempting to construct buildings using these tiles. And you do so by building them on one of these cards, which provides the outline for your building, the boundaries within you which you must build. And the challenge is to find pieces that you can build within this space and achieve the requirements of the building in terms of height and number of pieces. I have not actually played the game. I wisely bought a game that required multiple people in person during pandemic, but I feel it has nice sounds and a task well suited to ASMR. So I'm just going to attempt to build some of these buildings today. Normally, players would have an architect token that would represent their player in the game. We will not need these today since I'm just building on my own. See, the tiles are of many unusual shapes and sizes. So to begin with, I will take this card, and its building must be built within this dark colored outline. And this number indicates it will be 5 stories high. And these Roman numeral representations indicate that it requires a minimum of 8 pieces. So if it is 8 pieces or more, it is 5 stories high, and it fits in this boundary, it would be a successful build. I have actually cheated a little bit for this first one and prepared tiles I would need to help explain how this works. So I've got this larger tile that fits there, this sort of J-shaped tile that slots in there, and then I have another tile which can tuck in right there like that. Now, that is my first story. You do not need to fill the boundary. Your building simply has to fit within it. And because I have to go 5 stories, I need enough base to build upon. Tiles in subsequent layers must go within what I have built previously. It can't be placed to cover up a gap underneath. So I have placed down my first story. Then I'm going to get additional pieces to build a second story. And I will need 5. Here we have 3 pieces that constitute my second level. And on top of that, I will add, keeping it within the boundary of the stages below. And now the task here gets a little bit easier, because if I can find just one piece here that fits on top of the previous, building my 4th and 5th stories is a little simpler. One factor is that you can't place pieces that don't touch along an edge, so you can't go point to point or leave a gap. But this one will fit along that edge and with the boundaries of the piece below. So I now have 5 stories. They all fit within the bounds of those below, and my whole building is in my blueprint. I have more than 8 pieces. So this is a complete building. Any combination of pieces that meet the requirements are acceptable. It is up to you to be creative in how you assemble the pieces. So now that we've completed our first building, let us attempt another. I will now draw a new card. Let's do this one. I'm giving myself a slightly more open shape to begin with than something like this, which would increase the challenge significantly. Since I'm still new to this, we will go a little bit easier to start with. So this one will be 4 stories, require 6 pieces, and I believe in the actual game you win by collecting money from successful builds, and whoever has the most money would win. So this would be worth 10,000 yen, it appears. So let's start by finding some pieces that might work for this one. I wonder if we have a triangle that would would fit here. If you see a piece that I might be looking for, just scream as loud as you can. Perhaps I will hear you and be able to find it. I'm kidding. I don't seem to see any piece that is purely a triangle, but I will add this piece in here to give myself a little more coverage. And then we're missing that edge slice. And then what can we do over here? It's not going to work. There's a nice L shape that might fill in the gap. Okay, this one is too long to fit there. Something we could swap there. We'll just live with it. What would this do for me? That's very nice. We've got a very solid base that we've built upon for my first story, which will give us a lot of flexibility in the second story. Go ahead and try a similar shape piece here. There's also a very large piece here. Potential get a little bit crazy. Pieces are of really varying shapes. I don't know if there are any repeats at all. Doesn't immediately look like there are. I feel like this game would be fairly stressful played as a competitive game. You are all drawing from the same pool of pieces, and it seems challenging to find pieces that will work. For your build, I'm just experimenting here to see if there's something that might slot into there, but I don't think there are good options. It's not that helpful. Now I could do this, set him here, and then something that will fill this gap and give me room to work with. That fits in there just perfectly, it seems like. There we go. So we have a nice second layer to work with. And now I think we could finish this up pretty quickly since we've hit our piece minimum, and it would only take us these last couple pieces to finish out our building. Let's get that nice and lined up. So there we go. Let's nicely filled in our base. Architecturally intriguing with the layers we've introduced. And we've got a required number of pieces and stories. So that one worked out pretty well. So let us now choose a different card. Here's one that continues that sort of broad, open plan. It's one that's much more tricky and is also looking for 4 stories. It's a little more constrained. This one might be a challenge, as it is only 1 story but requires 5 pieces. Seems like we'd have to fit them together pretty carefully. Should we go challenging? This one is a 6-story building. Let's try this one. Let's mix it up a little bit. This one be 3 stories. Needs to use a minimum of 4 pieces. But it has a little bit more of a challenging plan to work from with these narrow segments. So let's give that a try. I want something that will be narrow to start out with. I think to help give us a chance to fill in these areas. Pieces like these. My sense is that this is not designed such that you have the pieces that could completely fill the floor plan. I don't think I see any that have this shape. So some part of this will not be used, is my guess. But maybe they're here just hiding in front of me. Looking for narrow pieces. The angle on that one is wrong. Any other similar alternatives there? It doesn't look like it. So how about something else to go up here? Let's try starting there. Might be building myself into a little bit of a corner here. Keep this handy in case. Would it fit there? No, it would not. It's tricky with some of these angles. About a piece like this to start filling some of this in. And we need 3 stories. So if we could get some good coverage, and probably get For instance, I could just do this and then find a piece that fits on top. And so if we wanted to do that, that would be a fairly straightforward solution for this building. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we used our minimum number of pieces, and it's 3 stories. Let's choose a different card. We were looking at some of these before. Let's try this 6-story monstrosity. See if we can master the vertical. A veritable skyscraper. This will be, like I said, 6 stories, minimum of 9 pieces. And I guess it pays off, as this one be worth 21,000 yen. Alright, to start, so we have to go high. I think we'll try to fill in a lot of the base. I'm looking at some of these bigger pieces. Appear to be a lot to my eye that fit this lower angle, at least not fully. This one was good up here. I can form kind of a ring if possible. This one definitely seems challenging. Looking for something that might connect around there. That is an option. Slide these together like that. Could work. And then if we can give ourselves some more floor area over here. I believe those all sit flush. It's just slight differences in the manufacturing width. And then is there anything else that helps us out down here so we're not too trapped and constrained? Ah, look at this. We have just a cube or a square. It is a 3-dimensional solid, not a cube per se. Like we like to be rigorous about our geometry on this channel, and that doesn't really give us any additional area. And this one is too long, right? Yeah. Just looking to just maximize down here if I can. But I think that cube might be our strongest play. Unless this fits it does, so that gives us just a tiny bit more flexibility on that edge, so we're not overhanging depending on what other pieces we come up with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've made some inroads already in terms of our piece count. Let's get wild and crazy up here. It would be fun to preserve that through multiple layers rather than just stacking up on one side. The atrium, if you will. What have we got? Can this help us out there? And what about that section? I feel like I've seen pieces like that. Look at that right there. That is perfect. Nice and lined up. It quite fits there. Wow, we're still in our second story here. This one is definitely a challenge. Oh, some other connections over here. Does this fit? Does not, because it overhangs that gap beneath it. So, what options do we have here? This piece fit there? Oh, that's amazing. That's these ones have been perfect for this level. I think I can put my square to good use there. I'd still like to flush this piece in, give myself some opportunities there. It's too long. About this little guy. If there's anything that would connect those. That guy would. I think that's our best bet. As long as he doesn't sit over the top of that gap, but he doesn't. He fits in perfectly. So yeah, this is a tricky one, but we've made some good progress. We've got 2 layers where we pretty much kept things full. Looks like that's gonna overhang the gap just a touch. I assume this will as well. Yep. This one does not. Start there. So that's the basis of our third story. So I should start thinking about finishing this off. If I had some small pieces that I could stack here. Technically in the game, you do one piece at a time. I can't really get away with checking my fit like this. But for our purposes, I think it's okay. I was thinking about what I might need to finish this off. So definitely going to get trickier here. if we could at least fill this section, that would give us a lot of flexibility. Theoretically, based on my completely limited knowledge of this game. But I think that piece is what we were looking for. And would that allow us to get another larger piece down? I don't know that it would. So we're at 3 stories. I need to get a 4th. Just a little bit larger. Might be running into a challenge. I need to get a little more creative here. Could definitely fit this here. Would you all fit together? I don't think that you do. But that might not be the right strategy. Be 1, 2, 3, 4. If I could fit, but it does not. Maybe I'm walking myself into a corner, and I should be thinking more along these lines of pieces might fit in this dimension. Get a second. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can we fit this piece on those? We can. 6 stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we definitely had met our minimum by the time we got to the 2nd story of our building here. This one was definitely challenging. Definitely strains your brain, at least mine, to find the geometries that fit together. Are you good at this type of challenge? Let me know in the comments. Let's disassemble our piece. This was that was really where the game was won. So, play here in the 2nd story. All fit very nicely together. Alright. How about we do one more of these for today? I think I'll go with something a little less challenging for this last one. How about this one? This will be a 3-story, requiring at least 6 pieces. It would be worth 10,000, not nearly as much as our last skyscraper. And it has a pretty open floor plan. I can stop sweating over actually being able to complete this on video. Although, maybe I shouldn't have just jinxed myself by saying that. So let's have a look at our pieces and see what we can come up with. Aim for starting with some fairly large segments if we choose. We could do something like this. And I think I've used a piece, but I think I was perhaps thinking of this, which doesn't work there. Not seeing another one with this kind of foot, but I think we might just be able to make this work with just these two. Could be a challenge. Maybe is there anybody that can fit in a shorter dimension? I don't think so. I think these smaller pieces are too long. Well, let's see. We need to use 6 pieces, so we'll have to use more than, well, 2 in each story, or 3 and 1. So let's see if we can potentially do that with what we have here. It's a fairly large section. What can we do with that? I think that might be limiting for us. Because we don't have a lot to work with. Oops. Though that piece will fit there. So that gives us 2. So if we can just build 2 in our top story here, then we will have succeeded. So how about we do this? And I could solve this with a square. I wonder if there's something more architecturally interesting we could do that would still work, that will not fit. Keep those together. About something wild like this. No luck. Well, I think we might just have to settle for, nope, look at that. We can put those pieces together. And that gives us 6 pieces in 3 stories, which completes our structure. Alright, I think I will stop there for the purposes of this video. Do let me know in the comments if you've enjoyed this. I would like to see more architectural endeavors in the future. And I hope you have a wonderful and restful sleep. Good night.